Conversations from the Cave is a raw self-help podcast dedicated to discussing men's issues. From pornography to parenting, from religion to real life, from learning to loving. We discuss the real issues that affect real men every day. Join us each week for powerful, revealing Conversations from the Cave. Now your host, Kurt Kennedy.
This is Conversations from the Cave. I am your host, Kurt Kennedy. It's a pleasure having you back each and every week, being able to come into your iPhones and your digital devices in order to spend a little bit of time with you and share, hopefully, some insightful information. This week, I wanted to do something a little special. We have just met our followers' requirement for iHeartRadio, and it is as a direct result of Jason Mayo, Latanya Blake, Latoya Blake, and Jackson Avery. So we want to just tell you guys how grateful we are that you guys put us over the top so that our application for iHeartRadio is approved. Thanks also for tuning in each and every week. We do appreciate it. And to all of our listeners, thanks again for just letting us spend some time with you. This week, we've decided to wade into the deep water. We're going to talk about something that has faded a little bit from the news because of the elections and other things, but it was hot news just a little while ago, and that's the website Ashley-Madison, which is the adulterer's website. It is the playground for those who wish to have a fling while they still wear their ring. So what we're going to do is we're going to send it around the horn. We're joined in studio, as always, with our awesome crew of guys. So to my left, I would like to give a shout out and have Mustang check in for us. Will you, sir?
Hey, how you doing? I'm here again, excited to talk about this week's topic. This is going to be crazy, guys.
Yeah. And to my right, Nola, can you check in for us, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. This is Nola 73. Meet you where you at.
So, guys, first of all, I never heard of Ashley Madison until it hit the news. Thank the good Lord I didn't know about it.
Amen.
Yeah, especially with all the stuff I've been through in life, it's a good thing I didn't. I'm not throwing shade on anybody who's been on that site, but let me just start off by saying, first of all, Ashley Madison, we are not here to bash Ashley Madison, but we are here to talk about what Ashley Madison represents, and that we will bash. I'm just going to give you a preface right off the bat. We don't believe in adultery. We do not believe in setting up flings. We do not believe that consenting adults doing stuff when they break the vows of their marriage is ethical and moral at all. We think it's immoral. Okay. So I'm going to just put that out there before we start. So if you guys are into Ashley Madison and you don't want to hear us talk about the importance of integrity, then you can turn off the podcast now. For those of you who are interested in understanding how to deal with challenges pre and post Ashley Madison, stick around. We've got some good stuff coming up. So first of all, Mustang, can you tell us what is Ashley Madison?
Okay, so I didn't learn about this either until I think I saw something on a TV show, popular TV show about it. But Ashley Madison is basically a site where that is specifically geared to married couples able, whether the man or the woman, able to engage in a external marital relationship, in a fling, in infidelity, in an affair. And it clearly says that, we don't recommend anybody going to Ashley Madison or checking it out. Just take our word for it. But it'll actually say like women looking for affairs, men looking for affairs, click here, and that's the gist of actually what it is. And it makes no shame in saying, hey, we encourage you to have an affair.
It's unabashedly pro destruction of marriage is what it is. Mm-hmm. There are some who believe in open marriages, and they are simply looking for partners to participate in their open marriage. And, I'm sure that Ashley Madison helps to facilitate this type of behavior. Nola, do you have a thought on the notion of open marriages and having being swingers and that kind of thing? Is that okay now? Is that considered okay now that we're in the modern day age?
It's funny you say that because, man, when I sit back and I look at our modern day time and I look at how we are just endeavoring in all types of just sin, period. It does trouble me. It hurt to see people go out and just throw their temple to the dog. You say you want to live right. You say you want to be prosperous. You're trying to be blessed. You're trying to live right. But yet you take what is most holy to you. What is your lifeline, your prized possession, and you treat it like it's nothing. And, I can't say much about Ashley Madison because the first time I heard it is when the topic came available.
when we were talking about it last. By the way, let me just give a little backdrop to this. So the reason why this came up is twofold. Number one, we always kick around ideas in the group about different topics that we think are potentially of interest to our listenership. But in particular, we try to pick topics that are specifically geared towards the challenges that men face. And it is pretty clear that all men, whether they have opportunity or not, at some point deal with the challenge of keeping their commitment to their wife. I mean, every man has to deal with it. It doesn't necessarily mean that he will fall to it, but these are real issues that men have to face. And I don't think it is wise to simply sweep it under the rug that adultery doesn't happen. It does happen. Now, obviously, there wouldn't be a command against it if it was okay to do. So clearly, this is a challenge for men. And in particular, we've now moved into a modern age where, as we were discussing some of these challenges, the term and the website Ashley Madison came up, which, of course, promotes this kind of indiscretion. Now, let me play devil's advocate for a bit and ask each of you guys. I mean, let's just say that your marriage is kind of on the rocks, right? And you just need some additional company because the marriage is just really not meeting your needs. What's really wrong with just having a dinner? I mean, just having a moment outside of your own situation just to breathe, just to have a moment of, time. That's all. Nothing too deep. You don't even have to go all the way through with a physical act. She might not even be your type. You never know. But what's the matter with that?
First of all, I can give you something right now. Anytime and this is what I tell my kids, anytime you use the word just, you already know there's a problem. Anytime, what's wrong with just having companionship? I just want to, you're doing what? You're justifying something that you already know is a problem. So anytime, and just watch yourself. And I tell my kids that, I tell myself that, I just want to go check and see what she said on Facebook. Let me just go. I mean, really, we're just going to go get coffee together. So many times I've had that just word, and I'm like, wait, Chris, there's a problem. That's your red flag right there. I just want to do this. I just want to do that. That's the first thing. And I heard you say it. I just want to go do this. So that's the first thing. Second thing is if you're married, and I got this words from a wonderful man who, God willing, at some point he'll hear this and hear the effects he had on me. But he told me when I worked at the bank, he said, Chris, and he used to be a womanizer and this, that, and the other, and he came to God and he now fights that actively, and I believe he's won for several years and continues to win, I believe, in that area. But he said, Chris, never be alone with any other woman in the same room with any other woman alone ever, if you're a married man.
Wow.
Just don't do it. Coworker, whether it's late at night,
wow.
The job, if it's a job, get away from your job. If it's, here, there, it doesn't matter. Get away. The devil will take you and he will throw you around, like a rag doll. And I can attest to that. And this is something you guys don't know, but I had a situation like that where I worked at night and I worked alone, and there was a lady there, and she was nice. She's a Latina lady, and a lot of people thought she was very attractive. I didn't think so at all. I didn't think she was attractive whatsoever. But I'm going to be vulnerable here.
Hold up now. Wait up. Now you're not saying she wasn't attractive because she's Latina.
Okay. Oh, no.
Oh, okay.
Very beautiful.
Oh, okay.
No,
I happen to have, I just want to make sure.
Oh my gosh. So I got to be careful.
We got some listeners who happen to be Latina, and
my point is a lot of guys found her attractive. Uh-huh. I felt fortunate because I didn't. I was like, okay, good. This is not a battle I'm going to have. I'm good. I was actually her employer. So I don't have to worry about it. Not a big deal. You know, a lot of guys would come in and ask about her and how old she was and this, that, and the other. And I didn't, you know, for me, it didn't bother me. Well, long story short, she took a liking to me, a very strong liking to me. And, I think the combination of me being her employer and me resisting her made me that much more irresistible. So she continued to pursue and continued to pursue and continued to pursue. And I remember just declining and literally point blank, just like, listen, I have zero desire to do anything, like nothing. Well, it kept persisting and persisting until one time, I make myself very vulnerable here so somebody else doesn't get broken, is that I did end up kissing this lady. This is the one time I've ever done anything outside of marriage that I should not have done. And my wife knows. I came home and I was bawling. I told my wife and I explained what happened, but this actually happened. And from there, no, we didn't there was nothing else, nothing else that occurred or anything like that. There was no, sexual contact, nothing, you know what I mean? But all that to say, this was somebody I didn't like, that I did not want. I had no desire. I was strong. I was proud of myself for being strong. And in a moment of weakness, over months and months of just being, bombarded with this, this person being attracted to me over and over and over and over again, I finally was like, it just happened. Just boom, just click. It just happened. I'm not going to say clicked. It snapped. Is what I'm going to say.
More like, it's like the straw that breaks the camel's back. It's just sort of,
And I went to the point to actually, before that to say, listen, I don't there's no questions in my mind, but I actually said it in Spanish, but at the time, but all that to say is, it can happen to you even when you're at your strongest, even when you think you got this, you think, man, nothing's going to happen.
Right,
it's just, we're just hanging out. It's just 12 and, 2 in the morning. It's just us, a couple of adults going out to do this.
Wait a minute. It's just 2 in the morning. Wait a minute, man.
We worked overnight.
Oh,
so,
okay.
So, yeah.
I was like,
but,
okay,
yeah,
wow.
Yeah,
it's just 2 in the morning. I'm like, where are you?
I work the night shift. Yeah. So
okay.
the night shift. But I mean, all that to say, and like I said, I'll, be vulnerable. And I've never told this story on a mass platform like this, but I want these guys, it's important and imperative for these guys to know that I'm being vulnerable on purpose, risking people that hear me, that look up to me and say, man, this guy's never done anything wrong. Yeah, I have done something wrong. And you know what? I didn't mean to. I didn't plan it. I didn't think it would ever happen to me. And I couldn't believe it. It's the first time I'd ever done anything like this. And it can happen to you if you're not careful. I beg you, be on your guard. Please be on your guard.
That's a good point. I think Nola probably also can chime in about the importance of setting up strong boundaries. I did want to make 2 points that you kind of alluded to, and the first one is this notion of I got this. That I want to touch on that because so many men figure, well, I got this. This is no biggie, whatever, and they a lot of times, if you feel that you're in control, that's usually the setup for you not being in control because you're not paying attention at a time when you need to be most focused in on avoiding a particular temptation. The second thing that I think is challenging is that many people who deal with infidelity, it is their way of filling a void that is in their own lives. Now, that void could be in the marriage relationship, or it could be a personal void. It could be a relationship with God void. A lot of times there are a lot of different challenges that men can face. And I think in order to be really honest about this is usually you're attacked when you're at your weakest. You're not usually attacked, as you shared, Mustang, when you're, going on your merry way and you don't have any issue. Usually there is a weakening of the marital fabric. There is a challenge that is presented in the relationship. And then subsequently, there is baggage, and the baggage causes resentment and bitterness and other things. And then there's this migration away from the primary relationship to find fulfillment as opposed to hurt in a secondary relationship. So sometimes emotional relationships begin far sooner than even, physical relationships. And you kind of alluded to that. It wasn't something that happened the day that this person walked in the door. It was something where over time, this person continued to pursue conversation, pursue interest, the glances, the whatever, those things that make it very, very difficult to not feel good about about it. And that's the thing.